Thank you for joining me today on the Who God Says podcast. I am your host and Kingdom Ambassador, Shaundra. Hi, hi, hi. Today we have a special guest. Oh my gosh. She is a life mastery coach, an author, and the host of Vibrant Living podcast, Miss Donna Tashjian. Welcome.
Thank you. It is a pleasure to be here.
So glad you could be here. We have a really big topic today. How first of all, how we get away, how we let go of stress. That's the biggest thing. Stress. How we
Oh,
let go of stress without going to the spa.
oh, well, it is, first of all, I will precursor this saying that in our, 30 plus minutes together, I'm not going to solve all the world's
Right.
problems. And so, but we will get some tips that we can put into action to be
Okay.
able to live more vibrantly, as I put it. So, a little bit about me and understanding that I do grasp stress
Hmm.
and even some difficult situations in our life. I became a mother at the age of 15 and I raised my little girl and the incident that preceded that was not a consensual situation. And so they're learning how to, I mean, you talk about stress, everything you anticipated your teenage years being like, mine were not.
Wow.
And, I was 18 with a 3-year old. Where were you guys when you were 18 and what was going on? And even so, learning how to, as I call it, turn our baggage into luggage so we can
Hmm.
create the life we dream. And if we're going to talk about stress, we're talking about those things that don't go like we think they should.
Right.
And
Right.
we're talking about things that surprise us in trauma, in ordinary life as well. One of the
Yes.
biggest things I've learned that cause stress is the expectations that we set on specific
Mhm.
events or how things should go. So, if you will allow me, give me an example of something that causes stress in your life.
Teenagers.
Ooh, that's a good one. Yes. I have raised 3 children, so I understand. Can you give me a little bit of an example?
um. Ooh. Okay. So, I think the biggest thing with my teenagers is um getting them to understand what I understand. That's kind of difficult because they're not there yet. So when you're trying to explain things to them to say, "Hey, I think this would be the best route to go,"
Mhm.
and they're not listening, they're not, and they're like, "Whatever, mom, you're old. You don't know what's going on in these times." That
Mhm.
that's a big stressor for me. That's a big one.
Yeah. And what would you think your expectations are around how you think it should be?
Oh, I expect them to take everything that I'm saying. I expect them to say, "Hey, my mom has a lot of knowledge in this area. She has been a teenager. She has graduated high school and is going off to college. She have tried to get, jobs coming out of high school. So
Mhm.
she knows about these things." I expect that they will say, "Okay, since they're calling me old, they know I've already been 18. I've already been 17 and 14. So
Mhm.
maybe I should listen." But that's my
Mm.
expectation.
That's your expectations, not your experience.
No.
Oh, yes, I have been there and done that and done a lot of things incorrectly in raising teenagers, but they still like me today. So it is interesting the expectations we set. So let me ask you one more question, and then I'm going to
Mhm.
expound on this whole. Thank you for
Mhm.
working with me here. And so, what does their rejection of your wisdom? What does that feel like it means about you as a mother?
Um, I don't really think about it like that. I just think about like They're just young and dumb, and they'll get it eventually. Hopefully, sooner than later. Um, I just, I don't know. I don't feel like it affects me as a mom or that I'm coming up short as a mom at all. I just feel like, why is it that they're not grasping it? I wish I had someone in my life when I was 18 and 19 to
Mm-hmm.
tell me, hey, let's do this, let's do that. But I didn't. So it's like I'm on the other side saying, you should listen to me. And they're not doing it. But I just feel like, oh God, they'll get it eventually. Hopefully, they'll get it before they cause some type of traumatic or catastrophic event in their life. Yeah.
Yeah. And that's where the stress a lot comes from. It may not be that your expectations, I'm discovering yours. And so apparently it's not that you're not being a good enough mother, but it is a lot of times for me too, the fear of what trouble they might get into.
Yeah. Yep.
And and if that is a lot of, it was why especially my oldest daughter is parenting from fear
Mm,
as
yeah.
opposed to parenting from faith.
Okay. Let's talk
Um,
about it.
and so learning that when I am trying to get them to avoid injury, uh, you going to the party, how you getting home, who are you going to be with,
Yeah.
all those kind of questions. And most of those times when they feel like they're being interrogated, I don't know if you do that, but I did that. They feel like they're being interrogated and you're just trying to keep them safe.
Right.
Where are you going to be? Mom needs to know. And approaching things instead I may ask the same questions, but the motivation of why I'm asking it is because I know, starting the conversation is, I know I've raised you to be wise and pay attention to your surroundings. I'm just curious, where's this party?
Mm, okay.
Um, and you say it a little different when you're coming from, I believe in you. If the children, the young adults feel like we don't believe in them, they're going to be automatically defensive
Yeah.
and not receive the wisdom we're trying to impart because you already think I'm stupid and I'm going to screw up anyway.
Mm,
Maybe we don't say
okay.
that, but we're afraid of that. And a lot of it is
Yeah.
because we're afraid of the dumb stuff we did as well.
Yep.
Oh, so when you think about it that way, is how to rephrase it so that you're speaking from I believe in you,
Right.
and
That's
then they're
good.
more apt to talk to you if they do run into a problem at the party. I'm using that example. They're more apt
Yeah.
to reach out to you because you've already said that you believe in them. I know you're young, but I raised you so that you pay attention to what's going on around you. And if you get into some challenges, you can always call mom.
That's
And
awesome. I like
talking in
that.
that way, they're more apt to listen, wouldn't you think? And then
Yeah,
your stress is
that
reduced.
sounds really reassuring.
It,
But it needs practice.
yes, it absolutely needs practice because we're you hold that little baby boy or girl, and you've experienced fear like you never experienced. Oh, and all the things that could go wrong, and I don't know what I'm doing, and where's the manual, and all those kind of
Yes.
things.
Hmm.
It rise up, and so, but we have to remind ourselves to parent from faith.
Yeah.
And when I
I
do
like that.
that, I'm calmer. Yes, the fear may raise up, if they didn't get home on time, but we have to constantly think about the difference as far as parenting, and generally most everything in life
Yeah.
is whether I am making decisions from fear
That's
or
right.
making decisions from a faith that everything is going to be okay. And if it isn't, God and I will figure it out.
I love that. Yes.
And
Oh.
when you face it that way, it's different. I teach a lot about living what I call spiritual intelligence. And it's
Mm-hmm.
living from the unseen from the things we can't see
Yeah.
to what we experience in our life. And if you think about it, a lot of things you feared in your younger life happened because what you feared came upon you, came to pass. We don't want
Yeah.
that for our kids. So it's
Right.
so important to begin to parent from faith and use our imagination for things we actually want. Because all of us have seen them in a ditch, the car crashed, all kinds of stuff in our
All
imagination.
kind of things. Right.
All of us, every
Right.
single parent ever lived has seen that in their mind with blood, etc., in great vivid detail.
Right.
But because the imagination happens doesn't mean I have to keep entertaining it. So
Yeah.
that's a moment of stress. This has showed up in my mind. It's snowy out. It's late. They haven't showed up on time. Oh my God, da 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 da.
Mm-hmm.
And I can begin to picture all the things that could go wrong. Or I could say, God, I've entrusted my kids to you.
Yeah.
I've raised them the best of my ability, and you're going to make up the difference. Wherever they are, protect them, have them call me if they need me.
Yeah.
But it's a completely different way to reduce stress by whether you're focusing on what could go wrong or believing that God will be there with you, even if a difficult situation does arise. It
Amen.
changes your stress level because now I've gone from fear, which is a stress response,
Mm-hmm.
or I can step into faith. And it's simply a choice, moment by moment, day by day. We can choose to worry, even though we don't call it that. I'm just being wise, trying to prevent them. It's still worry.
Mm-hmm.
Or I can choose to believe and speak life to them. You are going to make the right decision.
Yep.
You will think things through. You will slow down. You will choose your right friends. I believe in you.
Amen. I like that. Yes. I like that. Miss Donna, what is your spiritual background? What did you grow up in any certain denomination or anything?
I didn't go, it was a non denominational church.
Okay.
It lended to um, being a bit what I call religious. There were some strict rules on what we could and couldn't do growing up.
Mm-hmm.
Um, but at 12 years old, I had an encounter with God personally, which changed my life and helped me in what happened to me shortly after that.
Amazing. Amazing. So in your household, you guys were going to a non-denominational church, kind of strict, had these
Mm-hmm.
strict religious rules. Yeah,
Mm-hmm.
I often tell people I'm not religious. I don't.
I don't, me too.
I'm not religious. I don't adhere to rituals and things like that. I have a relationship with the Most High God.
I have a
And
T-shirt that says, "Not religious. I have a relationship with God."
that's right. That's right. I mean, we talk back and forth. I laugh at him. I'm pretty sure he laughs at me. I'm pretty sure he laughs at me. Yeah, we have a relationship. I don't know what I would be if it wasn't for God. Like I
I
don't know
agree.
where I would be right now. Like I know I said getting rid of stress is a big thing, but it's baby steps. And
Mm-hmm.
I would say that as of right now in my spiritual journey, I have gotten rid of a lot of stress. And it's just like you said, making that choice to not things don't affect me the way they used to affect me.
Right.
You know, they don't affect me the way it used to. Like I've never really worried about people liking me, but when you have people that are close to you, people that you care about, and they say a certain thing, you're going to feel the
Mm-hmm.
way about it. And
Mm-hmm.
I have definitely come a long way um, with not letting the responses of other people or even their thought about something change the way I feel
Mm-hmm.
or change my focus or anything because I've had to learn that not everyone has the capacity
That's
um,
right.
to be what you need. Like everybody don't have
Right.
that capacity,
That's
you
right.
know. And so a
Absolutely.
lot of times when I'm bringing like ideas or dreams or visions to family members or even friends, and if the used to be with the response was like, "Oh no, you can't do that. You're gonna have to do something else." I would feel away. I would feel like, okay, they don't believe in me. There's
Mhm.
no way I can do this. I don't have any support. I don't think nobody's going to help me with this. How am I ever going to do it? But I had to learn that every vision that God has given me, it was not for me to do. It was for me to lean on Him to do. And I didn't need the support of other people. I didn't need
Mhm.
them to see what I saw and understand what I saw. Because half the time I don't understand it. I just take it and run with it. And then he's like, I said that, but I didn't say this. And so,
Mhm.
and so I had to learn that they didn't always have the capacity to see what I saw. Or, God didn't give them the same vision He gave me. He gave me that vision because He was supposed to steward that. He was going to guide the vision. I had to steward the vision. So,
Hi everyone! Join the Kingdom Fanatics community. Get exclusive content, green room access with our guests, and more. Visit our website at whogodsays.com. Like and follow us on Instagram, Facebook, TikTok, and make sure to subscribe to our YouTube channel. We greatly appreciate your love and support. To find all information on joining our community, being a guest on the show, donating on our PayPal donation page, and more, visit us at whogodsays.com. Now back to the show.
Mhm.
yeah, it took me a long time to get rid of that. Like I'm the only business owner in my family,
Yeah.
and going into that, I was like, oh, wow, I have a big family too. I was like, wow. It was heartbreaking at first. It was like, I don't have anybody, nobody's calling, nobody's like, what you need, nobody's like, none of that. It was so
Mhm.
heartbreaking. And I was like, I used to stress out, where am I going to get clients from? How am I going to do this? And at a time I fought at my family. I was like, there's no way in the world that I should have this big, huge family and none of them support me at all. Like maybe one or two, but that was it. Like my mom has 9 kids. Think of that. And that's just her. She has
Yeah.
9 kids. And so it was like nobody supports the only business in the family. It was crazy, but
Yeah.
God is amazing because I had to
I
I
can
had to
relate.
learn to give people grace and understand that they don't have the capacity and
The
just
way the way that I look at and share with my clients your dreams and visions is you're holding a newborn baby. It's not yet grown. It's
yeah,
brand new, and you don't hand that baby to just anybody.
yeah, I
And
like that.
so, most of the time we get hurt when we hand your baby just this baby dream, this new idea to just anybody because not everybody sees it. And a lot of times we feel like the odd duckling in the family. I'm with you. No one else in my
Yeah.
family has a business. And so, mom said, my mother's, as a life mastery coach, my mom said, people pay you to talk to you.
Right.
And so, yes, mom, but that's all we're going to talk. I just like, let's talk about something else.
Yeah.
And so they don't always get you. And the people that you think should get you don't always get you. And
Yeah.
so learning to let people love you the way they can love you
Mhm.
instead of setting those expectations of how they're supposed to love you.
Yes.
And
Yes.
because there are people like you and me, we get each other. And there are people like that that may not be family, but they get us. And so,
Yeah.
there is a support available. It's just if I focus on the lack of it from
Mhm.
certain people, that's what's magnified. Wherever you focus, it's magnified. And if you
Yes.
focus on the people who do get you, because we don't really need a lot, we just need somebody.
Mhm. Yeah.
And
Yep.
when there's been nobody, I have Father, Son, and Holy Spirit, so I am never
Right.
alone.
That's right. Never alone. Oh my gosh. So, how did you become a life mastery coach, and what is the purpose of a life mastery coach?
Uh, Life mastery coach purpose is to, in my mind, is to help people to master life.
Mm.
Whatever their goals, dreams, purpose, giftings, uniqueness for them, helping them be all that they were created to be. And I have some specialties that I work in, but that's it in a nutshell. I became a mentor when I first started doing this work. It wasn't called coaching.
Mm-hmm.
And that's been a new word probably in the last 10 years
Yeah.
that's been a word that people used. But so I've been doing this a long time, is what my point is, and all of that. And it was something I was naturally gifted at. It just began to happen in every single setting I was in. I would begin to meet with people on regular basis. In the beginning, it was at a volunteer basis. I'll see you Tuesday at 10. I'll see you next Tuesday at 10, and helping women to overcome stuff and live vibrantly, even though I didn't necessarily call it that right at the beginning. As I have grown in my ability to coach and help people, I've learned through my own life as well as education. So continuing to expand what I believe and do and what I'm capable of doing has helped me now earn the credentials of life mastery coach.
Wow. That's amazing. That's amazing. When you started, you said you didn't call, we know it wasn't called coaching, but you started as a mentor. How old were you when you started as a mentor?
Um, Probably in my late 20s.
Yeah. Okay. What are some of those stresses and struggles that you dealt with in your life that actually helped you in your professional life?
Well, I shared one already,
Hmm.
becoming a mom at a very young age. I have a blended family. There was quite a bit of dysfunction in that family as well. I know nobody can relate to that, right? As I say sarcastically. And trying to figure out how to have children and to run nonprofit organizations. I founded my first nonprofit when my youngest daughter was 2 and ran that for 18 years, I think, something like that. So, how to do those kind of things. And we have faced job loss, we've faced bankruptcy, we've faced problem teenagers, so many different areas of,
Yeah.
and through all of that, my self esteem and believing that I could be who God created me to be.
Yeah.
Um, because there was a lot of negative words that were said about me when I was a teenager. You remember religion
Yeah.
in that situation. So there was a lot of words that were spoken that
Sure.
I had to choose not to believe and to believe what God said about me as
Right.
opposed to what people, those whispers that people
Mm.
say and those naysayers, and just begin to be a completely authentically Donna in all my
Yeah.
ways.
Yes. Yeah. I like that you said that. Because a lot of times people, I know a lot of times people are deterred from going to church because of those things, because of what are they whispering about? People are talking about people in the church and things like that. Um, but I would say that you shouldn't hold the church accountable for the people in the church. The church should be a representation of the kingdom of God, right? So in the
If you're
kingdom of God,
expecting
there
a
are all
church to be, go ahead.
yeah, when in the kingdom of God, you are going to have all type of people, and
Mhm.
when they're getting into the kingdom, they're learning. Everyone has their faults. Everyone has their downfall setbacks. Um, so the people in the church have not learned how to give grace yet. They have not learned to put themselves in other people's shoes. They have not learned to love each other as themselves. I mean, yeah, love each other as themselves as Jesus commanded. So that's why we have a lot of people who are church hurt.
Yeah.
Yeah.
There are some amazing churches out there.
There are
If
some
you find the
amazing
perfect church, don't join it, because then it won't be perfect anymore. And so just we have to remember that there's people in a church.
Yes.
Somehow, if we get hurt at work when there's people, somebody does something that says something wrong or is inappropriate or all kinds of things, we keep going back to work.
Yeah.
But someone hurts us at a church, somebody hurts your feelings or does something that it shouldn't be done, we don't walk in forgiveness.
Right.
And that's on us. And so learning to be able to allow people the grace to be where they are on their journey. We're all on a journey. None of us are perfect. Not one of us. We all do things and say things we shouldn't. And so there are some phenomenal, amazing churches. Jesus is building his church, and the gates of hell will not prevail against it. So there is some phenomenal churches that are making impacts in the world. And in learning to be able to step into that and not make excuses for the few places or the place that you may have been hurt. Because I've been hurt in the church, but I didn't leave because of that. You learn how it's character building to work through those things and be able to grow and become stronger because of it.
Yeah. And I would say not to revere the church as God. The church is not
Absolutely.
God.
It is not
Yeah.
God.
Yeah. I think that's where a lot of the hurt stem from.
Or the minister.
Yes.
They have human feet.
Yeah.
Yes. Just
Pastor
like we
is not
do.
God.
And so they have a office and a gifting that they've been called to, but that is not any different or important as your role. And so
Right.
understanding that, but yes, there's been a lot of hierarchy issues. That is human nature. I mean, James and John said, "Can we sit at your right hand?" It started right at the beginning.
Yeah. I just think that it's unfortunate, that people do have those experiences, but I would say to anyone is just to keep going. And like you said, there are amazing churches out there. There are churches that are, yes, the building, but the people that's in the building, they understand how you're supposed to be treated. They understand grace. They understand patience with people. They understand that, like she said, we're all on different walks. We're all on a spiritual journey. And none of us are perfect. Nobody.
Right.
The priest is not perfect. The rabbi is not perfect. The pastor, the deacons, the ushers, nobody's not perfect. So, just continue to find that place that God is calling you to, because there is going to be a place where you can get fed, you can worship, you can volunteer, you can sow your time, you can be of service there and build a community there. There is going to be a place that you're going to find, but you have to keep going. Don't get turned off. I mean, like you said, people go to work, people make you mad at work, you still go back to work. You have a teacher at school that you're not too fond of, you still go back to school. Same thing. Keep on going, persevere through. Yeah. I'm sorry, I got off topic, but I just felt it in my spirit and I had to say it. I had to say it. I know so many people have questions and they're like searching. It's like, just keep searching. Seek and you will find. Just keep searching.
Absolutely.
Okay. I want you to tell us about your workshops. So you have the workshops where you work with individuals on their lifestyles. So tell us about those. Life by Design, I Choose Joy, and Turning Baggage into Luggage. I love the names.
Turning Your Baggage into Luggage. I have a workshop and also a coaching program by that name. The workshop is a foundational basic on how to turn your baggage into luggage. And then when people want to go deeper, they can step into my coaching program of the same name. it is helping people overcome those painful moments in our life that we seem to not have trouble getting over. It's not just always getting over, it's still how they influence our thoughts.
Yeah.
It's the self-doubt, it's those little words and things that you hear in your head. And so how to really turn that so that the stuff that happened to you can be a launching pad as opposed to something that's weighing you down
Yeah.
feeling. So that is a workshop that's available as well as a program. Choose Joy is helping people to choose joy in the midst of anxiety, fear. One of my clients said, and can repeated it, is I have a knack for helping you turn fear into excitement. So learning to be able to overcome depression, anxiety, those kind of things is Choose Joy is about. And that is something I help people into. My Life by Design, Not by Default, is my second to latest adventure that God has taken me on. And that is when I was talking about your spiritual intelligence. There are laws of the spirit that you don't often hear about. If for example, if we were to talk about the law of gravity and you weren't aware of how gravity worked,
Right.
you walked off the roof, you broke your leg or hurt yourself, and things happen to us and well, where was God?
Right.
I know you've heard somebody say that.
Oh, yes.
It's like, God, what happened? Why did this happen to me? It's because we don't always understand these laws and how they're operating. Imagination is one of the gifts he's given us. We misuse it all the time for fear instead of faith. So I teach what spiritual intelligence is, how to live. And we hear about emotional intelligence and physical intelligence, but spiritual intelligence is where everything is birthed. Yeah. And whether you realize it or not, everything was a thought first before it became a thing. The computers, the microphones we're using, the desk and chairs we're sitting at was first a picture in somebody's head. It was a thought before it became a thing. And everything in our world is also, we are creative, just like our Father. We just don't realize that our thoughts actually reproduce. And so how can we co-partner with God to create a life that we love, impacting our world? And so that is what Life by Design, not by default. Let's pretend you live for 90 years. And if we take from the age of 20 to 90, the 70 years, did you live 70 years or did you live 1 year 70 times?
Wow, I like that.
And sometimes life just happens to us. It's like what happened last year is pretty much the same thing that's happening this year. It's like, how do we continue to grow and be all that God created us to be on a trajectory to impact our world? And how do we co-partner with him so that we are doing that? So that is what Vibrant Living is about, is all of these pieces to be able to do that.
I like that. Oh my gosh. That one was a word. Word. Did you live 70 years or 1 year 70 times? Ooh. That was a word. Word. Ooh. I can't tell you how many times I've said, why do I keep dealing with the same thing over and over, over and over, over and over? Ooh. Oh,
absolutely.
My God.
And God has given me the keys to able to answer that question. Wow. So that we don't have to keep experiencing the same struggles over and over again. There is an answer. And that's one of my biggest passions, just to share this. So good Christian people whose hearts want to make a difference in the world can learn the keys to be able to do it. And I always say it's from a place of ease. If it's God's way, it's easy. My yoke is easy. My burden is light. Yeah. If it's hard, we're not doing it his way.
like that. Yep. Woo. Ooh. All right, Miss Donna. Got some words for the people today. Hmm. Um, so how do you think that people can have their dreams without sacrificing their health and relationships?
Uh, well, it's key to what I shared just now is learn how to do it the easy way.
Hmm.
And I don't have time to teach the whole entire
Right.
program, but it deals with three different pillars, and it's clarity on whatever you need clarity on.
Hmm.
But part of it is around spiritual intelligence, your identity, how you see yourself, and those are primary issue topics that I continue to grow in. God keeps telling me He sees me this way, and I'm like, really? And it just keeps expanding as I believe and expand and grow more. So clarity around those things and whatever else you need attention to. Wealth, how you look at prosperity.
Yeah.
If you're going to make a difference in the world, money is required. And if we look at the people who were closest to God in the Old Testament, there wasn't a poor one amongst them. And so, how do we increase our ability to receive money so that we can make a difference in the world? And how we look at wealth and what are all of that kind of thing is part of that as well. And the third part is harmony. How to be and what harmony means to have that spirit, soul, and body be in harmony with God, that there is a place of ease and rest, and what all that looks like. Anyway, that's it in a really small nutshell.
Okay. Well, what about like with the experience I had with dealing with people in my family and things like
Mhm.
that. So, um, what would be some of the things that how can I still move forward in my vision and in my dreams and also keep a positive relationship like with my family, my parents, spouse, children? Like how do you
Mhm.
balance all of that?
You expect me to answer that in the next 5 minutes?
I don't know. Just as best as you can. Like what would be the
Oh,
bullet
yes,
point or
I will. I
synopsis of it?
absolutely will. Um, the main thing to increase your spiritual intelligence, the things that we've touched on today, and how God sees you so that you can begin to see yourself that way. Instead of looking at yourself through the eyes of a person who doesn't really believe in what you think you're supposed to do.
Okay.
And we do that often. So learning how to increase that, and I would definitely help you in being able to grow in that capacity. The other thing is setting some really clear boundaries. It's pretend it's mom. Mom, I know I've shared with you, I believe God's called me to do da 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 da.
Hmm.
I know you think I shouldn't, but do you think I should follow what I think God says or not?
Hmm.
And of course, if it's a Christian mom, she'll say, well, yeah, I'll follow what God said. Okay, well, then will you allow me to pursue what God has said and still love me and just let this be?
Yeah.
Something like that is a
Yeah.
conversation. It depends on the relationship. I'm making things up.
Right.
But it is something around clear. And some people I have just said in my family, I just don't talk about that with them.
Okay.
We talk about how they're doing, we talk about everything else in their life, but we don't talk about that part of my life.
Okay.
And I don't share with all my family members everything that God's put in my heart. I just don't do it anymore. It
Yeah.
doesn't mean that it's not important, but I just share where we can get along, where things can be peaceful, and
Right.
talk about that.
Okay. That's good.
Does that feel like I answered your question?
Yes, that's good. That's good. Like you expect me to get it all in 5 minutes? No, just a little bit. Just a little bit. I appreciate you so much. I'm glad glad you came on today. Can you answer one more question? What do you
Absolutely.
believe is your purpose?
My purpose?
Mm-hmm.
I have, God has called me to help stop identity theft in his kids,
Mm,
to end lack, to end illness, to end low self esteem, to end
yes.
all of those things so that we can be filled with confidence and peace and joy and harmony and prosperity. To bring that so that the kingdom can be impacted by his kids growing in their identity of who he created them to be.
Yes. I love that. Stop identity theft. Ooh, I love it. I love it. Thank you, Ms. Donna, for joining me today. Can you let the people know where they can reach you and connect with you?
Absolutely. My website is the letter I, vibrantliving.com. If you would like, there is a place on there that you can schedule a free consultation and discover it's not a sales pitch, it's just a consultation to support you and to help you be. If we end up working together, that's a possibility, but in the beginning, what have you got to lose? You
Right.
can schedule it. There is also a link to my podcast, my blog, other free resources that I've created that are there to support you and to help you live vibrantly.
That is awesome. Thank you so much, Ms. Donna, for coming in today. I'll have all your links located underneath the video in the description. Thank you. I
You
enjoyed
are
it
very
so
welcome.
much.
It is my pleasure to be here today.
Thank you for all of your gifts. Thank you so much for hanging out with us today on the Who God Says podcast with your host and Kingdom Ambassador, Shaundra. Go to whogodsays.com to join the mailing list for episode premieres, upcoming guests, and more. Send in your questions to be a part of the show at whogodsays@gmail.com. And don't forget, join the Kingdom Fanatic community. Until next time, be blessed and also be a blessing.